Hello, this is Anastasia Artemisia, and this is my channel about standing up against narcissistic abuse and healing from it. Anastasia is a name that I liked, and I believe its historic bearers probably knew about narcissistic abuse. And Artemisia comes from Aster Artemisia vulgaris, which is a medicinal hardy aster that has a common name called mugwort, and it is an anti-parasitic healing medicine. I've experienced the benefits of it myself, and I thought it was appropriate against narcissistic abuse. So I have been standing up against this for about 50 days now, basically kind of my personal protest. 50 days ago, I was in a narcissistic household with 3 other women, and it escalated to such a point that it was ruining outside relationships, and that was the day I got a storage unit. I've been out camping about 41 days now. The weather's starting to change now, and I have to respond to some new things, some new developments, and this particular episode, let me just make sure it's still recording, yes. It's going to kind of focus in on how lack of planning on the part of the narcissist does constitute an emergency on your part. You've heard that cute little phrase, poor planning on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on my part. Well, guess what? This is going to be about how it does. All this time, for years, actually, my father, who would appear to have NPD, based on one of my counselors pulling the DSM off of his shelf and talking to me about the different diagnostic criteria, which he met all of, according to my experience. So he's been trying to lure me back to the other side of the country ever since I moved out here for grad school. It's now September of 2016, and in April, I was already having a lot of problems with that household, and it was also his birthday. Unfortunately, I brought up some of my vulnerabilities on the phone call on his birthday. Another point of this video, it comes from Dana from Thrive After Abuse. It was inspired by one of her episodes and something she said, which was emotional manipulators manipulate vulnerabilities. And that's just the case. And I think they also cultivate vulnerabilities. And that's what's been happening with me and probably lots of people who have a narcissist in their life. Their vulnerabilities are being cultivated by that narcissist. I did want to start off saying that I am really grateful to be here. Another inspiration from Dana, she said it was a miracle her life wasn't more of a train wreck one time. And I say that about my life a lot. It's a miracle that I'm here in one piece and alive. So I really appreciate that, and I want to put that out there. I'm feeling confused, angry, frustrated, sad, and the shock is wearing off. I gotta recognize my father's cultivating my vulnerabilities, and he always has, and he always exploits them. And I always try to give him the benefit of the doubt and be a good daughter. and, work with what I have and, find a honorable way. But that spends a lot of my energy. Um, at any rate, the status update to kind of catch you up, back in April, I voiced concerns about that household, and he said that I would be welcome to come back and stay with him temporarily. So, first of all, this was a shock because the last time we had any kind of real conversation, he said that I was not welcome in his house. He also said that he didn't feel like he wanted to be my parent anymore. And I got that message as I was driving across the country through a blizzard by myself with a car full of stuff. Takes me back. Wow. At any rate, there you go. That was a shock. I do have a whole page of notes that I'm trying to keep myself on track and keep a concise video with. What he said, besides that I could come back, was, this might sound crazy, but I'm going to suggest you don't get a job. And yeah, that did sound crazy. My little brother has suggested over and over the opposite, to get any kind of job. And this has kind of been a case my whole life. He would exploit my vulnerability of not having money when I was a teenager, but then when I went and applied for a job at McDonald's, he was said that was wrong too. So at any rate there, don't get a job, he'll come and rescue me. I invited him to come visit because at that time I was still giving benefit of the doubt to the household. He basically steamrolled right over that invitation, and decided it would be better for him to come get me, and gave me a shopping list of things I would need to pack my stuff to move across country with him. He completely disregarded my business and my very important contract with a tribal government. He never understood about tribes and what they've been through as a result of the American government, and the English and French, I would add, probably maybe the Spanish, and who knows, we could go on with colonialism. But I don't want to be glib about those things. He doesn't understand that if I drop a contract, my first contract, it's my third, but it's still the first client, and they disapprove, then they could tell all future tribes that I'm not good to work with. And, tribes seek references from other tribal members. And I am not a tribal member, so that's really important for me. And just based on my own ethics, I want to do a good job. I didn't choose this line of work because it was easy. I chose it because it needs to be done. So he also minimized the nature of the emergency with these women that were abusing me, and how I was already injured with PTSD and their abuse, and creating a harassing, intimidating environment where I couldn't sleep and I couldn't get food. How dangerous that was. Sorry, there's a lot of yellow jackets around here. Fun. So, minimize the emergency, disregarded my business and my values. I can't get out of my head that he also told me to blow my nose because I was crying. So that was really embarrassing to have your father tell you as a grown woman. And it was also seemed sort of minimizing. It was rude. I don't want to relive all this right now. I just wanted to relate some of the red flags I've experienced. Another big thing that came up was scheduling. he announced that he was going to run for office for the state assembly. And he's already been a town supervisor and sat on some committees. He studied public administration. I think he has his master's in public administration. Sorry, I don't remember exactly. Yeah. So in the interest of reality, it takes 3 weeks to get a move across the country done. And if he's running an election, and I have evolving schedule, how do we know, when I make a decision, is he going to be available, or is this opportunity going to disappear? And he's like, oh, I have a text message that says, "You're always first." And when I got the text message, my cynicism came out. Maybe it was realism again, but like, first at what? Let's see. First in line for some kind of exploitation or abuse. I think that was probably really what that meant. So, that was in April. Now it is mid-September. The weather changed faster than I realized. I also didn't anticipate that the days get much shorter very quickly in the north, and that really compounds my day with being able to find and set up a camp and make dinner and clean it up before the bears come out, because there are bears. There are also wolves here, and I have a cat, so things need to be timely for safety. But my safety is not always first. And I've had a couple of friends really urge me to take the invitation to move back in with my father. These relationships with these friends have had red flags for me, and not the smallest of which being they're suggesting I return to an abusive situation. So did the homeowner of that abusive household. It kind of comes down to what Annabelle Lee said. It's not really up to me to figure out why on earth they are suggesting these things, or giving them benefit of the doubt. It's just on me to notice this as a red flag and make my own decision, maybe opposite of what they are suggesting. So I am low contact with him. I haven't figured out how to go no contact, and I haven't decided to, but this might be a new turning point, maybe a starting point of that plan, because about 4 days ago, I was really vulnerable. I told him I'd call. It was September 11th. I usually call on September 11th. And I didn't because work came up. But then he called me. Whoa, what a nice thing that I fell for. So I call him back, and it turns out this whole election thing is actually real. Holy moly! Like, it just dawned on him. That's what he told me. He was like, there's actually a real chance I might win this thing. And because, like, the public is so dissatisfied with the incumbent, so obviously he really has to be there to save the day. So, like, now he really doesn't have time in the next 8 weeks until November 8th to come get me, as he promised he could, because I'm first, right? Did I mention I have 2 brothers? How does that work? I saw this coming months ago, right? And I thought about the whole job situation. I did all this research. I did all this emotional thinking. And, you know, things change. I'm more vulnerable, right? Cultivating my vulnerability. I am also going to explore more about self-abandonment versus self-committal, because I think it's a fine line based on what I'm experiencing here, being out living off the land on my own. How much more vulnerable could you get? So because I'm low contact, in the interim between April and now, I've been getting these cute little text messages about how much fun he's having fishing with the grandkids. How my cat is sitting on his lap. I got a drunk dial one night of a text message that he's listening to Dave Brubeck. Weird. Not the first drunk dial from Dad late at night. Just weird. Yucky. So this is cultivating more vulnerabilities. Just checking my notes. Oh, and this is like eroding my confidence. And the way that he minimizes and disregards, pardon me, my business is also eroding and destroying my confidence and my self-respect and my pride. And like, I have to keep reminding myself that I chose to be here because I am taking a stand against narcissistic abuse. So that is self-respect right there. So I went through all this heart-wrenching deliberation about finding the positives of moving back home for a temporary period of time. And as soon as I was accepting that idea as viable, the rug was ripped out. He ripped the rug out from under me. Perfect timing on his part, I guess. Congratulations. He said he didn't even think about how I could help him with administrative work he might get from becoming elected. He didn't even think about that. So glad I could help. So he's saying like how the family really should pull together and we got to support each other, because I admitted that I've been camping. He doesn't realize it's been 41 days. He doesn't realize it's been 50 days since I started moving out, and how that went down. Not that he would care. You know, some people like to say he just doesn't know how to show how he cares. There you go. There's that disclaimer. That's the amount of disclaimer you're going to get for that. So I'm feeling like there's some shame play getting going right now, because, oh my God, he's got to save the state from this terrible incumbent and all these people who need a better option so he can be there, and, you know, he's got to get ready in case he's elected. And what? You got to get ready? Like, to me, this reveals he's not prepared to be an elected official. He's admitting that he's not prepared. I don't think he's qualified. I don't think you can have such a messy house and then go say you're going to clean up somebody else's house. Yeah, there's a lot of things about his qualifications, you know, starting probably with the personality disorder, that make him a very scary option for a candidate. I would not be surprised if there's a Trump sign in his yard right now. He also told me about how Planned Parenthood approached him with questions, and, you know, he said those questions, they just try to pigeonhole you. So he didn't answer them. He just wrote back his own thing to tell them how he felt. And I thought it was really interesting how he would bring this up to me in the conversation about me moving home. on a limited time call and tell me how he wrote a vague letter to Planned Parenthood so they couldn't tell if he was on their side or not. And he didn't tell me what was in the letter, but he brought it up. And you know, with this whole family pulling together thing, he's sending money to a general delivery address. What am I supposed to do? I kind of turn it around and be like, well, that's probably the least he could do. And I heard a professor once say, "Tain't no such thing as tainted money, just taint enough money." Right? So, yeah. I can, what's the word? I can't remember the word, but like I can find the good in anything, right? That's kind of how I was raised, right? And I already found the good of possibly moving back there, and now that is either temporarily delayed or permanently canceled. But I want my cat back. I don't want any more stupid text messages about my cat being on his lap, but he did mention that he was too afraid to go on his bed or be around him when the other cats were around, so it's good. My cat's still smart. He knows. He knows. Ah. It's so frustrating. It is so frustrating. Something else I wanted to bring up that inspired me came from Running from Chaos. And this came out a while ago from her. And she was saying, they want and will wait to see you cowering, groveling, and humiliated at the fault in yourself, and apologizing and begging them for forgiveness or to rescue you. And I feel like I'm at that point. Like the red carpet has been rolled out for me to crawl up because I screwed up my life so bad I have to camp. And I need him to come get me, and we got to pull together so he can win the election and save the district or whatever. And if I make things worse, then I could embarrass the family publicly even, or I could prevent him from saving the state. Remember the qualifications issue here. So this is why I say there's some shame play going on, and that I kind of feel like he played his cards so patiently to get me to this point where I have no choice. But guess what? You don't get to this point and start feeling like you don't have choices. You start inventing them. You get innovative. And like the thing about the groveling, it's like I feel like saying, please stop hurting me. Please stop sending these text messages that rub my face in it, that my brother discarded me and won't let me near his nieces. Excuse me, I'm so upset I can't speak. You know, he discarded me. He's got kids. All I wanted to do is be a good aunt. He knows that. He's used those kids as pawns a lot. My dad knows it breaks my heart. He knows I know he lied about it. But he keeps sending the little cute texts. And stop, you know, hurting me with text messages about my cat that I miss. And please stop drunk dialing me. And if I do come to your vicinity, I don't want to be picked on. I don't want to be mocked. I don't want you to try to swoop in and control my life. All of those things. So I'm like groveling for these. I'm getting on a rant right now. My computer's on a stump. If I get on the stump, you won't be able to see me. I'm sending out my anger into a protective boundary. Thank you, Carla McLaren. I really look forward to talking more about the wonderful things you've taught me in another video. but really, this is not supposed to be a rant. This is supposed to be a status update and a sign of red flags when you're dealing with a politician narcissist as your father, and how they will minimize your concerns and disregard them and do whatever they can to avoid embarrassment. You know, we've got grandiosity, entitlement, lack of empathy. Just making sure there's no bears over there. Wolves. I think that about covers it right now. I did want to show you the beautiful site that I found and how the leaves are changing, and it's very nice. Day 50. Woo! Thank you very much. I hope that this might help somebody if they're starting to feel like red flags, or they're on a roller coaster ride, or they're having that nasty confusion feeling that you can also hear about from Annabelle Lee and Dana, and probably others. That's a major red flag, folks. Take it from me. And you can own your life. You can get your life back. And I will. I am doing that. When else have I made so many videos? Or, you know, I still own a business and I'm doing well. So I think what's probably going to need to happen, you know, I am confused, and it's been so hard to think. I also been going through premenstrual dysphoric issues besides CPTSD. And I've, you know, with this news, that was part of what I wanted to tell you, is the days are getting shorter. The snow is going to fly on this side of the mountains. It's going to rain on the other side. I need to make a decision, and I keep racking my brain what it's going to be. There is still a small chance that I will have to accept my father moving me across the country after November 8th. But if he does get elected, what the hell is that going to mean? He's going to be traveling around being a politician, or traveling around avoiding his duties as a politician, neither of which make me feel good. So I kind of need to let go of that as an option, I think, and create a better, more viable one that makes me proud. One where I am working on things that help people, and I'm being creative and innovative. So hopefully, you know, this could help some other folks to recognize some things going on in their lives and let you know you're not alone. Look at your candidates very closely. If you've been through narcissistic abuse, you will recognize it in these candidates, so think about that really carefully right now. Please, you know, do it for yourself. I would appreciate it too, but do it for yourself. That's the only way that works. I'm not really in a position to be giving out a lot of advice right now. I don't feel that great. I wanted to give you a status update for day 50 and show you these red flags, as I've already said. So if you have any words of wisdom, please leave them in the comments. If you can relate to any of this, if you have any questions, I would love to start a dialogue. Obviously, I'm in the middle of the woods, and I need to go to libraries to be able to pull off the whole commenting on YouTube and interaction. So I'm a little behind on that, and I really want to be there. You folks seem like really great people, and would love to see people healing and to help with that any way I can. So please enjoy the beautiful fall day. And I wish you good luck and strength, and keep going step by step. Be very gentle on yourself. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.